So in our discussion, we have picked up these following 5 articles. We have picked up 2 articles for mains discussion and 3 articles for prelims discussion. The articles for our mains discussion today are, the first article is lateral entry in civil services. The second article is sub-classification of scheduled caste. And for our prelims discussion, we will be dealing with these articles: parliamentary committees, monkeypox, and difference between diseases dengue, malaria, and chikungunya. So let's begin today's discussion. So the first article for our today's discussion is inspired by this news article which appeared on the page number 6 of Indian Express. Recently, UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, has released an advertisement for 45 lateral entry posts, and these posts are related to the position of joint secretary and director, deputy director across 24 central government ministries. Okay, so in this discussion, we will be dealing with that what is lateral entry. We will be dealing with the aspects of it. And this article is important for our GS paper 2 Polity and Governance directly under the syllabus head. Role of civil services in a democracy. Now, if you see in previous years, in the year 2022, we found this particular question which was regarding the reforms in civil services for strengthening democracy. And in the year 2017 also, we found this particular question that was regarding reforms which are required in civil services. And now lateral entry is one of the reform which is devised in civil services. Okay, now let's begin with the starting. First of all, civil services or civil servants, they were referred to as Steel Framework of India by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, so civil servant, India, in the Constitution of India, Article 312 of Indian Constitution, it deals with the creation of all India services, right? And so in this and this article, and under this provisions, UPSC as a constitutional body has been created. Okay, so UPSC has the power for merit-based recruitment in all India services and various central services also. And we all know the merit-based recruitment through UPSC is done in all India services, right? Now, this is the traditional method of gaining entry into civil services examination. Now, apart from this, there is a additional method which was first, the post for which were first advertised in the year 2018 by the government, and this is known as lateral entry. So for lateral entry, the first such notification which was released by UPSC, it was in the year 2018, and induction for the post was done, and then subsequently in the year 2022 also some posts were released, and this is the third time in the year 2024 that various vacancies in lateral entry has been released by UPSC. Okay, now let's begin with what is a lateral entry. Now we all know that this is departure from the traditional approach of how civil servants are inducted, right? So what is lateral entry? It is the induction of domain experts into bureaucracy, right? And who are these domain experts? These domain experts, they are the individuals. They may be from state or union territory. They may be from the governments of state or union territory. They may be individuals from PSUs, from statutory organizations, research institutions, universities, and also the experts from private sector or private companies, right? And the minimum criteria is that they should have at least 15 years of domain knowledge or sector specific knowledge, right? Now, what is the need for lateral entry? What is the rationale for it? The rationale is that this will rope in, or this will bring in the fresh talent or expertise or sector specific expertise in the civil services, right? And this will augment the availability of manpower, because one of the key requirements in one of the key aspects is that in bureaucracy, in the position of mid-senior level officers, there is a shortage of personnel or shortage of officers. So this is the rationale that this will bring in talent and this will augment the availability of manpower, okay, in civil services. Now, The recommendation for lateral entry has been even given in the first ARC and also in second ARC. And recently, in the year 2017, Niti Aayog, in its report, and also there was a report which was released by Sectoral Group of Secretaries on Governance. They recommended the induction of personnel at middle and senior management levels in civil services. Okay, so see, these lateral entrants, they do not have permanent tenure. Rather, they are appointed on contract basis. Initially, they have a contract of 3 years, and later it can be extended by 2 more years. Okay, and these lateral entrants, they form the part of central secretariat. See, generally IAS, or in common parlance, district magistrate, they are focused with the implementation of policies, right? They implement the policies, related policies, okay? But in the central secretariat, there are some certain civil servants who are policy makers, right? Or who assist the policy makers in central secretariat. So there are various departments in central secretariat, and based on which there is a hierarchy of post which goes as secretariat, additional secretariat, joint secretariat, joint secretary, secretary, additional secretary, joint secretary, and directors. Okay. So when there is a lateral entry, these personnel, they are appointed to the post of joint secretary or to the post of directors or deputy directors. Okay. So in this mid senior level positions, they are directly inducted for a period of 3 years. Okay. Now, let's see again that what is the need for lateral entry in civil services. And as we already saw that lateral entry, this is a one kind of civil services reform. Okay. So why do we need reforms in civil services? And as this was what UPSC asked in year 2020 also, that there is a need for reform in civil service. Okay. Because see, initially when the civil services were formed in British era and long after independence also, traditionally, the roles of civil servant, they have been perceived as regulators. Okay, so civil servant in traditional sense, they have been working, they have been regulating the policies, strict implementation of the protocols. Okay, so these are the things which are traditionally associated with civil servants. But now, as we know that we are moving towards the government, what is the maxim or motive of government? It is minimum government and maximum governance. Okay. So pardon the interference. Okay. So government aims for minimum government and maximum governance. Okay. Now the roles of civil servants traditionally who were regulators, now they are being shifted. Now they have a more proactive role of enabler. So they are becoming the facilitators, or they are working towards providing citizen-centric governance. Okay, so in that sense, they are enablers. Okay, now for example, their duty is to build consensus among certain stakeholders. For example, at local level, they will build consensus between local officials and say citizens at local level. In the same sense, their role is of enabler, and for that they need out of the box thinking, right? So they need an innovative approach also. And now this is the first thing, that the role of civil servant is changing. Okay, and as a result, we need reform in civil services. And what is the second factor? The second factor is that with the technological advancements, okay, and with the complexities in the legislation, we need domain experts, and such domain expertise or sector specific experts. For example, we have certain legislations on new emerging technologies, for example, superconductor mission, okay, AI mission, and we have certain other, for example, cybersecurity, mission on cybersecurity, and for example, advancement in biotechnology. Okay, so with the rapidly changing technology, we have certain new legislations for which we need domain sector experts, right? And this expert, and we need to rope in, we need to bring in these experts from private institutions, say research, private companies or research institutions or universities, who may sit at central secretariat, who may frame policies, and these policies, they will frame it with their expertise and domain experience which they have gained. Okay, now now this sums up that these two criteria, that for first criteria is to enable governance, second criteria is to bring in sector specific expertise. Okay, so largely for these two purposes we need lateral entry. Okay, now let's read it again, that the first reason is that there is a shortage of mid senior level officers. Okay, so in order to augment the availability of manpower, this is the first reason. What is second reason? To bring in specialists and domain experts. What is the third reason? If we bring in such experts, this will incentivize innovation and this will promote out of the box thinking. And this is also to induce competition, and this is also to make Indian national level legislations at par with international regulations, right? So this is why we need lateral entry. Now, having said this, there is criticism of lateral entry also. Let's see that what is the criticism of lateral entry. Now, the first point is that, see, ever since this advertisement has been released, we have seen opposition for this particular scheme, lateral entry scheme, from certain political parties, and the first thing is that the major criticism is that uh, it has no provisions for reservation. Now, generally, in the government employment, whenever government takes out any vacancy or government employment, there is a provision for reservation for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes, right? But such vacancies which are floated out, generally they have no criteria for reservation. Okay, so this is the criticism from opposition party, that this is a systematic procedure which the government is implementing to refrain people from marginalized section to get reservation benefit. Okay, this is the first criticism. What is the second criticism? That lateral entry is a backdoor for political appointment or favoritism. So, in absence of the transparent process, this could lead to appointment of certain personnel which who could have political affiliation. So, this is one concern. Okay. The third thing is that this will dilute the merit-based system established by UPSC. As we already saw that UPSC floats out merit. UPSC is associated with merit-based examination for all India services. So such lateral entry, this will dilute this merit-based system established by UPSC, right? And also the major criticism is that such provision of lateral entry, this has a limited impact. Why? Because see, if you see their tenure, initially their tenure is of 3 years, which can be expanded to 2 years more. Okay, so these are short-term tenure. This short-term tenure is not conducive for them to frame long-term strategies. Okay, so it would not be effective. This short-term contract would not be that effective. Okay, the second thing is that, see, if we rope in or if we bring in people from private companies, their work ethic is different than that in public sector. For example, private companies, they are derived by profit. Okay, so there could be a contrasting work environment which the people from private sector may find, and they may find it difficult to adjust in public sector, right? And also, there has been criticism, there has been resentment in the traditional civil servants over this lateral entry. So there is so in this sense there can be friction between such lateral entrants and the career civil servants already present in the system, right? And this may lead to inefficiencies or lack of cooperation sometimes. The third thing is that this is a piecemeal approach. See, there are various core issues which are hampering bureaucracy. For example, red tapeism. Okay. For example, corruption. For example, inefficient senior level officers. So, and some other issues also, for example, non-skilling of mid or senior level officials. So these are the core issues in bureaucracy, and this is just a piecemeal approach, and it will have a limited impact. Fourth thing is that uh, this lateral entry scheme, this is not lucrative enough for the experts from private sector to apply for these posts, because because they may have significant differences in compensation or salary provided, right? And the work environment in public sector may have certain rule based environment, and which may hamper innovation, right? And the next thing is that it is being speculated that this may open door to privatization, right? So these are certain criticism of lateral entry scheme. Now, what is the way forward? The way forward is that as the second ARC, Administrative Reform Commission, in its 10th report, or this was also recommended by first ARC and even the second ARC in the year 2008, it recommended that an institutionalized and transparent process, there should be an institutionalized and transparent process for lateral entry, both at the central level and at state level, right? Only when this process is transparent, then this would provide the due benefits of induction of lateral entrants, right? And apart from this lateral entry, there are certain other reforms which are pending in civil services, and these reforms are that first of all, there should be maximum use of information and communication technologies in governance. Now, when there is a maximum use of ICT in governance, this may reduce corruption. This may provide minimum government and maximum governance, right? This may streamline the governance processes, okay? And this may hold government accountable. And second thing is that there should be disciplinary proceedings by effective amendments to Article 301 of Indian Constitution. Now, Article 311, of Indian Constitution, it gives certain protections to civil servants. For example, they cannot be dismissed arbitrarily. But because of these protections to civil servants, sometimes there is a delay in taking timely legal action, in taking timely disciplinary action against civil servants. So there should be some changes in this regard. And also, presently, India lacks a legally binding code of ethics for civil servants. So, in order to inculcate the values of integrity, accountability, transparency, honesty, probity, and excellence in public servants, right? There should be a legally binding code of ethics for them, and there should be effective provisions for implementation of the law when such codes of ethics are broken by them, right? And there should be the provisions of penalty, okay? And then finally, there should be mid-career training and skill assessments for civil servants, and also in order to curb the resentment. In traditional civil servants, there should be a 360-degree performance appraisal and also compulsory retirement for underperforming officers. So these are the initiatives which the government can take in order to bring in reforms in civil services. Okay. So this is the first article. Now with this, let's move on to our second article for the day, which is inspired by this news article which appeared on the page number 11 of Indian Express. Now this article is about recent landmark judgment, which was a landmark verdict which was given by Supreme Court in on August 1, 2024, recently. So in this judgment, Supreme Court said that the state governments now they can do sub-classification of scheduled caste. Now we will see more about this issue as we proceed further. So this is a landmark judgment which was given on August 2024, and in this judgment, by a majority verdict of 6-1, Supreme Court said that the state governments have the power to sub-classify the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in their particular states. Okay. Now, in this backdrop, the author says that yeah, there is a need for sub-classification of scheduled caste in order to acknowledge the disparity among Dalits. Okay. Now we will see that what is sub-classification of scheduled caste as we proceed further. Now, this article is important for our GS paper 2 social justice under the syllabus head welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of population. This article is also important for our GS paper 2 polity and governance under the syllabus head government policies. Okay, and this is and some dimensions are also important under GS paper 1 Indian society under the syllabus head social empowerment. Okay, as caste is an integral proponent of Indian society. Okay, now as we proceed in this article, firstly, let's talk about Article 341 of Indian Constitution. Okay. Now, Article 341 of Indian Constitution, it empowers the President of India that to classify any caste as scheduled caste in India. So, the President, in case of any state, after the consultation by the governor of that state, or in case of union territory, the president can release a public notification and the president can specify the caste, races and tribes as scheduled caste. That is, particular caste, races and tribes can be classified into scheduled caste by President of India. Okay. And apart from this, the Parliament has power to include or exclude any such caste from the list of scheduled caste which has been notified, which has been specified in the notification. Okay, so this means that the power for classification of any caste, race or tribe as scheduled caste it is with the President of India. Okay, and certain caste can be included or excluded from the list of scheduled caste by Parliament. Okay, now let's come to that what is sub-classification of caste. Now, as we all know that there are various groups of caste in India. For example, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, other backward classes. Okay, and there is a list. For example, if there is a list of scheduled caste, there could be various subcaste which could be added in this very list of scheduled caste. And sub-classification, when we sub-classify these caste into various groups based on certain criteria. For example, if we classify them on economic criteria. So this is known as sub-classification. That is when we categorize any larger group of caste into smaller subgroups. Within one caste, there are various subgroups. Okay, now this is known as sub-classification of caste. Okay, now why do we need to sub-classify caste? This is because in case of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, there have been certain castes within the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes which have historically benefited more from affirmative action policies. Now, you know that government gives reservation in public employment and education services to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. But within this scheduled caste category, there have been certain castes who have historically benefited more as compared to other castes, right? So this means that there is a presence of intra-group disparities, right? And in order to address this intra-group disparities, there should be a sub-classification of caste. Now the question arises that is there a sub-classification of scheduled caste presently in India? No. Presently, there is the scheduled caste in any state. For example, the scheduled caste of any particular state, they have not been sub-classified into such groups, right? But the demand for the sub-classification has been undertaken since long. Now, first such demand came from the DN Local Committee, which was constituted in the year 1965, and which was to review the induction of which reviewed the list of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, right? And this committee, it said that the welfare benefits or the benefits of affirmative actions, they were concentrated in certain numerically large and politically well organized communities. This means that within one particular caste subgroups who are numerically large and who have more political power, they have enjoyed more welfare benefits. That is, it also acknowledged the presence of intragroup disparities. Okay, and in this context, various commissions in India have recommended categorization and subclassification of scheduled caste. And don't learn these commissions, just have a fair idea that there have been certain commissions which recommended that there should be subclassification of scheduled caste. Okay. Now, in this context, let's see some important cases in India. Now, see, if you remember Indra Sahni versus Union of India case 1992, it introduced the concept of creamy layer in OBCs, other backward classes. Now see, this concept of creamy layer is a particular section of other backward classes who are more economically advanced as compared to other subgroups within other backward classes, right? So this is a cream within other backward classes which is more economically advanced. So in the Indira Sahni versus Union of India case, it said that the benefit of reservation under the OBC reservation, presently it also upheld that 27% reservation will be given to OBC, and within this 27% limit, this reservation will not be given to creamy layer OBCs or economically advanced OBCs. That is, it did a kind of classification of OBCs based on their economic power, okay, based on their financial condition, right? But such creamy layer classification is not present for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Okay. Now back in the year 1975 in Punjab government, what it did, Punjab government at that time in the year 1975, it gave 25% reservations for scheduled caste in the state of Punjab. Okay. Now in the year 1975, by releasing a notification, the Punjab government said that within this 25% reservation which is given to scheduled caste, out of this 25% reservation, 50% of it will be given to Valmiki scheduled caste and Majhabi 6 scheduled caste, and another 50% will be given to all other remaining scheduled caste groups who are present in Punjab, right? So this was for the first time that sub-classification of caste were done in Punjab, that there were various groups like Balmikis and Majhabi Sikhs which were more economically backward as compared to other scheduled caste. They were identified and then they were given the major chunk of reservation in reservation benefits, right? But however, there is a long history that till 31 years, the Punjab government kept giving on reservation under this particular notification or scheme. However, in Andhra Pradesh, there was a particular case in 2004, which is E.V. Chinnaya versus State of Andhra Pradesh. Now this case, now see, Andhra Pradesh government also tried sub classification of scheduled caste, but in this particular case, what happened that in the E.V. Chinnaya versus State of Andhra Pradesh case, the Supreme Court said that the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe list is a homogeneous group and it cannot be divided further. That is, the state government cannot subclassify scheduled caste because it violates the right to equality under Article 14 of Indian Constitution. So Supreme Court in this court said that, see, this scheduled caste is a homogeneous group. This is a particular homogeneous group, so a state government does not have power to subclassify them, and if a state government does this, there is a violation of right to equality under Article 14. And also the Supreme Court said that, see, there is Article 341, which we already discussed, and in this article is only empowering the President to issue such a notification, and only Parliament can make additions or deletions to the scheduled caste list. So the state governments they do not have any power for subclassification of scheduled caste or scheduled tribe. Okay. Now this was an important ruling of Supreme Court. That was this verdict came in the year 2004. Okay. Now now fast forward in the year 2024, what happened? Supreme Court in the latest judgment of August 2024, it overturned this particular ruling in the EV Janaya case, and Supreme Court said that, see, scheduled caste, they do not constitute socially homogeneous class. Now they are not. Supreme Court said that Supreme Court acknowledged the existing inequalities between various subcastes in the scheduled caste group. So Supreme Court said that these existing inequalities, we cannot unnotice them, right? So there is an empirical evidence which suggests that there is inequality even within scheduled caste. So these scheduled caste, they are not socially homogeneous class. That is difference between various subgroups, and this and then the states, they have power. These states can subclassify these scheduled castes to provide reservation to less privileged. Okay. So in order to give reservation benefits to certain underprivileged classes, state government now have this power. Okay. And also Supreme Court says that this Article 341 does not create an integrated homogeneous class of scheduled caste, and the state government has the power to subclassify them. However, such subclassification by the state government, it should be backed by empirical evidence or numerical evidence, right? So there should be a rational principle for it, backed by empirical evidence, right? Now, see, ever since this judgment came out, there have been various debate. There have been some arguments in favor of subclassification of scheduled caste, and there have been certain arguments against it also. And instead, even if there is a subclassification of scheduled caste, there are some challenges in their subclassification. So let's see that what are the arguments in favor of subclassification of scheduled caste. The first argument is that there should be a subclassification of scheduled caste because it enables social justice. We need to identify the most vulnerable section in any particular caste, and government should take targeted actions, or government should make targeted policies in order for their economic benefit, okay, or in order to for their welfare, right? So this subclassification of scheduled caste, it enables social justice as we can get proper data based on which the state governments can make policies. Okay, government can take targeted actions. The second thing is that this particular judgment of Supreme Court, it gives autonomy to the state governments. Earlier, state governments were not allowed to subclassify scheduled caste in their particular state, but now with this judgment, it gives the state government autonomy to tailor affirmative action policies for specific need of any particular section of population. Okay, so it is empowering the state governments because any local government is more suited to know the needs and demands of its population. Third argument is that this subclassification of scheduled caste, it is in lines with the constitutional provisions. What are these constitutional provisions? That is, it adheres to Article 15 Clause 4 of Indian Constitution and Article 16 Clause 4 of Indian Constitution. So Article 15 Clause 4 of Indian Constitution says that the state government, it empowers the state government to make any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward class of citizens, and also for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So this subclassification is a kind of a special provision which the state government can do, right, in order for advancement of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. Okay. The second thing is that it also is in line with the Article 16 Clause 4 of Indian Constitution, which says that nothing in this article, this says that the state government has the power to make provisions for the reservation of appointment or post in the favor of any backward class of citizens, which, in the opinion of the state, is not adequately represented. That is, if the state government is in the opinion that a particular class of citizens is backward and it is not adequately represented in services, then state government can make reservations for their employment. Okay. And lastly, it gives impetus to the nationwide caste census. Now, we all know that there has been a demand to conduct a nationwide caste census. So, this gives an impetus to this demand. Okay. Now, there are certain challenges in the subclassification of scheduled caste. What are these challenges? First of all, the first challenge is that this will create rift, or this will create divide between the this may create rift between different subgroups under any particular caste. And if we're talking about scheduled caste, this may break the unity between various subcastes within scheduled caste, and it will weaken their collective political and social identity, right? Because there may be dispute over like how the state government is going to choose which caste is more backward compared to other caste. So there are various things that this particular issue could be manipulated for political gain, right? There are potential for disputes among the populations, that is intercaste disputes could occur, right? And further, there are administrative challenges also, that how to get proper data or how to collect empirical evidence. This is also one set of challenge for the state government. And also, when government somehow say if government takes affirmative actions for a particular subcaste, now government, now certain states, now if all states of India are going to do so, there will be non-uniformity in the collective actions, in the affirmative actions with which the states are taking. So other challenge is to ensure uniformity in the affirmative actions which the states are taking in order to meet the collective goal of reservation, right? So these are certain challenges. So so presently the central government has said that it is not going to classify scheduled caste and scheduled tribe into creamy layer. So central government has clarified it, and we will see how this topic evolves in future. With this, let's move on to our prelims article. The first article for today's discussion is inspired by this news article, which appeared on the page number 9 of The Hindu. Now, this news article says that the Lok Sabha Speaker has constituted 6 new parliamentary committees. So, certain new parliamentary committees has been constituted in India. These committees are Public Accounts Committee, Committee on Public Undertaking, Committee on Estimates, Major Financial Committees, and Committee on Welfare of Scheduled Caste, Scheduled Tribe, Committee on Welfare of Other Backward Classes. So, these are certain parliamentary committees which have been constituted. Now, parliamentary committees, these are the panel of member of parliaments which can be selected from both houses of parliament, that is Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. So, in any particular committee, any particular parliamentary committee, members can be from Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, both from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, or either from Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, depending upon which particular committee it is. Okay. So these members, they are either appointed or elected by the House. Either they are elected in this particular committee, or in certain committees, it is nominated by the Speaker of Lok Sabha or Chairman of Rajya Sabha. So they work under the direction of Speaker or Chairman, and the major work of these parliamentary committees is that it presents its report to the House or to the Speaker of Chairman. So parliamentary committees, they are important tool in order to maintain checks and balances on the working of executive, right? Parliamentary committees, the major function is that it does scrutiny on the bills which are floated in the parliament, and then it is a form of control or check on the functions of executive, and to demand parliament and to demand accountability from executives, right? And it also offers certain expert advice also in formulation of legislation. So broadly, this is the role of parliamentary committees. And parliamentary committees, they can be of various types. For example, standing committees and ad hoc committees. So standing committees, these are permanent committees, and ad hoc committees, these are non-permanent committees, and they may be constituted for any specific purpose, and they may be dissolved after it. Okay. Now, in this today's article, let's see a few facts about Public Accounts Committee. It is a major financial committee. Let's see a few facts about this committee, right? And you are advised to know certain facts about all these committees, as it is highly important. So, Public Account Committee is a major financial committee, and this committee was first set up in the year 1921 under the Government of India Act 1990, and at present it consists of 22 members. So, remember, it consists of members from both Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, and in this particular committee, the members are elected by the Parliament every year through the principle of proportional representation by single transferable vote. Okay, the term of the office of members is 1 year, and any minister cannot be elected as the member of this committee. Now, there is a convention that since the year 1967, the chairman of Public Account Committee is selected from opposition, right? And what are the functions of Public Account Committee? Basically, all it examines the financial dealings of central government, that what are the revenues of central government, how is this how are the what are the liabilities of central government, revenue of central government, liabilities of central government, how are the public accounts of central government handled by the government. Okay, so in this sense, what does it do? It examines the appropriation accounts or the finance accounts of the union government, and it also examines the annual audit report of the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. So CAG of India, it lays down three reports to President of India, and finally these reports are laid before the Parliament, and it examines the appropriation account and finance account of union government, and also these audit reports of CAG, right? But the recommendations of Public Account Committee, these are just advisory and they are not binding on the ministries. Okay, so these are some important facts. Now, UPSC has asked questions regarding various committees, various parliamentary committees, as in the year 2018 we found this particular question. Now let's solve this particular question, which says that consider the following statements regarding the Public Accounts Committee in the Indian Parliament. Statement 1. The Public Accounts Committee was first set up in 1921 under the Government of India Act 1990. Now this is a correct statement. The chairman of the Public Accounts Committee is always a member of the ruling party. Now this is incorrect statement. After convention, there is a convention that always the chairman of Public Accounts Committee would be a member of opposition, right? And third statement says that the PAC examines annual audit report of CAG. Now this is a correct statement. Now how many statements are correct? The correct answer is option C, as statement 1 and 3 are correct. Now let's move on to our second MCQ for the day, and this appeared on the page number 12 of The Hindu. Now this news article is about monkeypox or mpox. So recently, World Health Organization has declared monkeypox as a public health emergency. Okay, public health emergency of international concern. Now that is it is a highly alarming signal. Whenever the World Health Organization classifies any disease as a public health emergency, it gives an alarming signal to all the countries to immediately take actions to prevent the spread of that particular disease, right? That is, this monkeypox has become a global threat now. There are the chances that this particular infection can spread into multiple countries, right? And this is a highly alarming threat. And the first thing is that WHO is giving an alarming signal in order to create awareness among citizens as well as among the government officials. Now, second thing is that this is a call for international collaboration. That is, international collaboration and efforts are needed in order to prevent this disease or contain this disease, and it can be through various means. For example, research and development in the early development of vaccine, among others. Okay. Now there has been an outbreak of monkeypox in African countries. including Congo and other African countries. And in the year 2022 also, World Health Organization uh, declared monkeypox as a public health emergency because at that time it spread to 118 countries. Okay. Now let's see a few facts regarding monkeypox. That what is it? Monkeypox is a viral disease. It is a viral zoonotic disease. That is, it can spread from animals to humans. Now it is a viral disease which is caused by a virus, a DNA virus. Now this disease was first discovered in 1958 in Africa, and there are two variants or two clades. Clades are branches. That is, this particular virus, monkeypox virus, has two branches, clade 1 and clade 2. So in layman terms, we can call them variants, but they are more proper way is to call them branches of a virus. So clades, they have a common ancestor. This particular virus, it evolved to form two generations, clade 1 and clade 2, right? And this clade 1, it is associated with higher mortality rate, up to 10%. And this clade 2, it has lower mortality rate. Presently, there is a transmission of clade 2 virus, a variant, that is clade 2 virus. There is a variant of clade 2 virus which is being spreaded presently. And an important difference is that this clade 1 virus, this is transmitted by animals to humans. But this clade 2 virus, this is transmitted from human to human. So the outbreak of clade 2 virus is more serious because it can be transmitted from human to humans, right? But however, it has a lower mortality rate. Now, what are the symptoms of monkeypox? The symptoms is that there will be rashes, these blisters or rashes or skin lesions. Now, they can be concentrated to face, limbs, chest, hands, feet, and eventually they can spread to genital organs also. Now, let's talk about its transmission as it is a zoonotic disease. Historically, earlier when the cases emerged, it transmitted from animals to humans. But however, presently, human to human transmission mode is the primary mode of their transmission. And how human to human transmission? It can spread through direct contact with respiratory droplets or other bodily fluids or skin blisters. And also, this is important fact that this particular virus, it spreads through sexual contact. Okay. And also this virus can spread during pregnancy to the fetus. Okay. And what is the presently there is no specific treatment for monkeypox viruses and certain antivirals which are given in the case of smallpox. Those antivirals are being given to treat monkeypox, and there are no specific vaccines. Certain vaccines, there are three vaccines which are approved by World Health Organization, but these vaccines are also related to common pox. These vaccines are also related to smallpox, and there is no particular vaccine especially made for monkeypox. Okay. Now, based on all these facts, let's solve this practice question. As UPSC asked various questions in science and technology sections related to disease. In the year 2017, we found this particular question which was regarding Zika virus. Now, let's solve this question which says that consider the following statement with reference to monkeypox. Monkeypox is a zoonotic disease caused by a RNA virus. So this is incorrect statement as this is caused by a DNA virus, though it is a zoonotic disease. The second statement says that monkeypox is a self-limiting disease. Now see, this statement is correct. The fatality of monkeypox is between 1 to 10%. And in other cases, in 90% of the cases, it is self-limiting. That is, it is self-curable. It is curable without any specific treatment. Okay. Third statement says there is a no risk of transmission of monkeypox from mother to fetus. So this is an incorrect statement. So how many statements are correct? Only one statement is correct. Now let's move on to our last article, which is inspired by this news article which appeared on the Sunday Express of Indian Express. And this article, it talks about there is a rapid spread of dengue and malaria. So this article gives a few point of difference between these diseases, dengue, malaria, and chikungunya. Generally, we all are confused regarding these all diseases. Okay. Now, first of all, dengue disease. Remember that dengue is a viral disease and it is caused by dengue virus, which is a RNA virus, right? And what is the common mode of transmission? It is through the bite of infected Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. Okay, and this dengue disease, it does not spread from person to person contact. Okay. However, there are a few cases that this disease can spread from mother to child during pregnancy, right? Primarily, it is affected by mosquito bites. And what is the differentiating factor here? The differentiating factor here is that in the case of dengue, there is a high fever which can be around 104 degrees Celsius. So a bone breaking fever is the major characteristic of dengue disease. And if we talk about treatment, there is a no specific treatment or vaccine to treat dengue disease. Okay. Now let's see another disease, which is chikungunya. Now see, chikungunya is also a viral disease. It is also caused by a virus, and the vector is also same. It is also caused by Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. Okay, so it is also caused by virus and it is also caused by Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, which was same in the case of dengue. Okay, now the transmission is also through the bite of Aedes mosquito. And however, this disease also cannot spread from one person to other person. Okay, and chikungunya, what are the symptoms of chikungunya? See, most of the symptoms are same, that fever, chills, headache, nausea, vomiting, joint pain. But one of the most striking factor or noticing factor here is severe joint pain in case of chikungunya. That is even after the disease is cured, there would be a severe joint pain which would last for 1 or 2 months. Okay. Now this is the symptom of chikungunya, and these diseases, chikungunya, dengue, and malaria, it can be confirmed through blood test. That is a blood test. In case of chikungunya, it is ELISA test. So these are certain blood tests which can be done in order to know that a person is suffering from which particular disease. And now let's come to malaria. Malaria is a life-threatening disease, but see, malaria is not a viral disease. Malaria is caused by a parasite, and it is particularly caused by Plasmodium. So this Plasmodium, if it is infected, if any mosquito, that is female Anopheles mosquito, is infected by a Plasmodium, then if that particular mosquito bites any person, then this is how malaria is spread. So malaria is spread by a parasite which is Plasmodium, and it is transmitted through the bite of female Anopheles mosquito.